Hey there everyone! I know we should all be avoiding public spaces as much as possible nowadays, but be sure you're still getting outside a good amount, as much as you can. It's about springtime, so while the weather still kinda sucks for me, some of you should be able to feel the warmth of the sun outside. Oh hey, you know that word? Warmth? A noun variant of warm. Well, did you know that there's a version of that word for the word cool, too? That word is coolth. So while you're experiencing the warmth of the sun, you may also experience the coolth of the wind, too. Anyhow, now that the random non-smash fact is out of the way, I'm going to be dedicating a good chunk of this video to the first fact that was discovered by a little dankster, where they experienced a certain glitch when playing in a free-for-all match. Here, I'll recreate the glitch in training mode. What you're going to need is Cloud with his final smash, Ridley, and any other third character. First, I'll show you the glitch in its entirety before I explain things further. As you probably noticed, the final smash activated and Cloud acted as normal, but Ridley never went into the final smash. Rather, he just kept spinning in circles. Here's the specific setup for this glitch, which I'll go frame by frame for. There's a certain point in Ridley's side special when you should activate Cloud's final smash. It's not that specific, but it's around here, and you'll get a feel for it the more you practice. Just make sure you wait until Ridley has slammed the opponent's body onto the ground, and has already started dragging. Now, I did quite a bit of testing, and it seems that this glitch only works if the opponent you're dragging has a bit of percent on them. I don't know the exact percent, and it might be character specific, but if I do this setup in the exact same way but at 0%, it doesn't work. But it works just fine at about 40-ish%. So keep in mind that you may want everyone a little bit damaged before attempting this. Now, there are a lot of things to go over in regards to this glitch. First up, let's just try doing tests in the non-training mode setting. Here's me doing it once as normal. It's the same thing we saw in training mode, nothing too special, but since Ridley didn't get KO'd, I tried to do it again. And yeah, the game soft locked. So if you try to use Cloud's final smash again after performing this glitch once, your game will crash. And one thing I wish to answer is that, yes, Ridley can be attacked and KO'd while stuck spinning around, and he can be pushed around too. But remember that the slamming hitbox of Cloud's final smash is still active, so everyone can still be affected by that. And actually, that's what I'd like to focus on next, as it leads us to something very important. Look at the following circumstances here, and watch what happens when I perform the glitch, and have Ridley get KO'd by the slamming hitbox. Ridley clearly got KO'd, and he even lost his last stock, but he's perfectly fine here. He can still interact with opponents and be interacted with, and while you can't see his percent on the icon, you can still see it occasionally appear above his head. He can even still get KOs, and get the final smash. However, the game still considers Ridley as a knocked out fighter, and treats him as such. When Joker loses his last stock, the match will end with Cloud as the winner. And if Ridley uses his final smash to KO both the opponents at the same time, it'll result in a sudden death between those two opponents. Now here's something interesting I discovered while testing out. When Ridley uses his down B against Cloud, it works just as normal. However, when he uses down B against Joker, the person whom Ridley was dragging to initiate the glitch, then Ridley gets stuck in this position, completely unable to move. Now, if Cloud hits him when he's like this, he'll go back to normal. However, if Joker here hits him, his stance will change, but he won't go anywhere at all. And if you grab him, he'll retain the yellow flash for the rest of his frozen existence, meaning you can't grab him again. You can keep wailing on him all you want, but he won't be KO'd. However, if you then come in as Cloud and attack him with anything, he'll go flying. I'm not sure if all the knockback he got given gets sort of saved up, like Stasis in Breath of the Wild, but he certainly gets very much KO'd. Although if he doesn't get grabbed initially, Cloud can grab him to sort of save him, I guess. I thought that maybe this happens because Ridley is using a zoom in move, but when I tried it out with the home run bat, I wasn't able to replicate it. So it's gotta do something with a special property of Ridley's skewer. The last thing I want to go over about this part of the glitch is the S flag, in that if Zombie Ridley uses an S flag, he'll still gain stocks just like anyone else. His percent won't be fixed initially, nor will the issue of his down B, but he'll gain the stocks nonetheless. And when he gets KO'd, he'll respawn as if nothing happened. So in that sense, the S flag is kind of like a revival tool. Now I've already spent several minutes on this one glitch, and I don't want to take up too much of the video regarding it, so I'm going to be ending off the topic on something rather broad in regards to it. We see that this works with Cloud's Final Smash, of course, but what about other Final Smashes? Let's say Ike's, for example, whose Final Smash is pretty similar to Cloud's. And in training mode, we can sort of see something similar. Really doesn't exactly get stuck, like with Cloud, but Ike still performs the rest of his Final Smash without any opponents actually caught in it. And in free-for-all, while it's a little bit harder to position, you can get the same thing to happen in creating the zombie Ridley glitch. So this is not Cloud specific. Also, as you saw, the glitch worked, despite Ike hitting the opponent and the opponent being dragged into the Final Smash. So it's potentially not as precise positioning-wise as I thought at first. And with Zoroark, this is what happens. There are a lot of Final Smashes that don't exactly do anything special, and a few that share the effects of Cloud and Ike. And some with unique, minor effects, like how in this Final Smash, Ridley is able to act for a split second before getting hit by everything else, which can lead to some funky effects. And instead of going over them all, I'll just post in the description the list of effects that my buddy Burbo made, who, by the way, did a ton of testing in regards to this glitch, so a huge thanks to him. Whew, that was a lot to describe for one topic. I just thought the glitch was interesting enough to warrant it. But how about we spend the rest of this video going over a bunch of small facts then? To start that, Creedonline had asked me in my special Patreons only feed if stamina mode has the rage factor. See, rage only affects how much knockback a character's move does, not its damage. And in stamina mode, knockback is static, not affected by how high or low someone's health is. So to test whether or not rage is present, I need to see how knockback gets affected. And the test is actually pretty simple. First, I test where the attack sends Bayonetta when Lucas hasn't taken any damage, or rather when he should have hypothetically no rage at all. And doing so, Bayonetta gets sent about here. Next, I test where Bayonetta gets sent when Lucas has taken extraordinary amounts of damage, which should hypothetically mimic gaining rage. And we can see that even the rage smoke appears in Lucas's profile icon. And after using the move, we can see Bayonetta gets sent here. I counted the planks of wood between the two distances, and it's very clear that Bayonetta got sent farther. I kept everything else consistent between the tests too, so this means that rage is present in stamina mode. However, since rage only affects knockback and not damage, and knockback will always be really low in stamina mode, this effect is still fairly inconsequential to stamina mode as a whole, but it is something to consider when thinking about any stamina mode combos, since now we know that the knockback a character takes isn't completely static. Hey, while we're speaking of Bayonetta, Crazy Gamer here on YouTube had found a really interesting visual glitch regarding witch time. You're going to want to be in training mode with Bayonetta and any CPU. Spawn in 3 of them, get them somewhat close together, and give them all high percent as to keep them in witch time for longer. Now set them to side smash, hit one of them just to get them sort of out of sync, and just start witch timing every single smash attack. It's worth noting that this is easiest with someone like Young Link, as it's more generous if you miss since they only use the first hit of the attack, which doesn't launch you anywhere. Your goal is to keep witch timing the attacks with as little time between each witch time as possible, and try not to get hit out of it. And if you keep on doing this for a little while, the witch time effect will linger around both you and an opponent who you happen to witch time a lot. And honestly, this is more like a fun minigame at times too, since you have to sort of organize your witch times in order to get into a rhythm without messing up the timing at all. It can be pretty hard at first, but once you get into that flow, you can keep on doing it, stacking the visual effects over and over again, really getting into the groove of things. And then, once the game has had enough of your witch time stacking... Yep, another game crash. This episode has been more like a glitch showcase than just random facts, huh? Anyways, moving on. Bully What If Porter had given me an interesting little fact regarding Nessa's voice files for PK Starstorm. Did you know that, in the voice files, Nessa's sound bit for PK Starstorm is actually split into 2 separate voices?
PK Starstorm!
I mean, I guess there's a slight pause between PK and Starstorm normally, but I hadn't thought it was enough to warrant an entirely new voice line. And Lucas, on the other hand, has this entire PK Starstorm in one line.
PK Starstorm!
I guess he sort of goes from PK to Starstorm a lot quicker, but that's still pretty neat, huh? Another thing that's neat is this fact from Ku on Twitter regarding Jigglypuff in Rest. This is easiest to see in training mode with fixed damage on. However, if you land multiple rests in a row, the flower on top of the opponent's head will grow bigger. From what I saw, it seems to have 4 sizes total, with this one being the biggest. We can also see this with the lipstick item, which also gives the opponent a flower on their head. And from what I saw, while the amount of percent each gradual hit does stays the same, regardless of size, if the flower is bigger, it lasts longer. So it's in this sense that you could say each flower effect is stacking. Next, Robin Main asks if people online see different victory screen animations. And funny enough actually, this was a question that _Schwan_ had given me an answer for. They saw the answer in a video by Zero. Here, in the same match, we see the victory screen from this person's perspective, which shows the animation of Doc Lewis holding up Lil Mac's arm. However, when we go over to Zero's perspective of that same match, we see a totally different animation. To be frank, my internet isn't the best here, so testing out these types of things isn't easy for me. So I'm really glad that this was indirectly showcased here. So yeah, thanks for that, Zero. Speaking of my man Doc Lewis though, Tommy CD1 has given me a great fact in regards to Mac's victory screens between his 2 types of alts. Under his normal alts, Doc Lewis has a total of 10 possible lines he could say.
Nice work, Mac. Got it all figured out. Got what it takes, Mac. Got your chocolate bar call. Was that a little too easy for you, son? And the winner is Lil Mac. Way to go, Mac. You're the champ, baby. You win, Mac. World circuit's all yours, Mac. Win feels good, don't it?
With a random chance for him to say this one for any of the animations.
That belt looks good on you, son.
However, when Little Mac is the wireframe alt, Doc will say 3 new lines that he normally wouldn't say, those being...
Better keep my eyes on you, son. You're making my eyes water, son. Just like old times, huh?
And he can still do the belt line as well.
That belt looks good on you, son.
Next, 11A11 Mr. Box has shown a video on Twitter with PacMan doing something in training mode. You'll want to make the speed be 2/3. Then go to the bottom of the stage, and when you're somewhat close to the bottom blast zone, just keep spamming the hydrant. As you'll see, you keep using the move over and over again, sort of hovering in that one spot. However, the reason why I told you to go into training mode is that this doesn't work at normal speed. It seems that the time in which you can use the hydrant again doesn't get slowed down with the rest of PacMan's animations. So when training mode is slower, you don't have to wait as long to use the hydrant again once it despawns from the bottom blast zone. This works in the slower speeds too, but it doesn't work as consistently if you just keep on matching the inputs. You've got to sort of time it in order to keep it working. But since this only works in training mode, it's less of a practical stalling technique and more just something that exists. You're welcome. And finally, for this video, since I just talked about PacMan, I want to say something in regards to a stage, Pac-Land. But on this stage, on the first hydrant and other hydrants and later stage variants, if you push it to the left, you'll be given a size boost. The effect is the same as the Super Mushroom too. If you play on the stage with hazards off, you'll still be able to move the hydrant to the left, but you just won't get any size boost. It only gives you the size boost if you have hazards on, and whether or not any items are on has nothing to do with this boost's presence. And with that, I think I'll wrap up the video here. Thank you very much for watching, as always. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to keep up to date on all new random facts videos, or any random songs of mine I happen to upload. And I want to thank my patrons Creedonline, Burbo, Dino, Elpidio Epic, and Aman Shareef. I hope you all, as well as anyone who's watching this video, has a splendid day. School's been keeping me plenty busy, and finals are just around the corner. But I'm hoping things are gonna look pretty good after all of that. So I hope you stick around. Stay casual, stay reasonable, and I'll see you later.